Hi, this is David Huff from the band Giant, and you're watching CMS TV. Keep it real.
That's the Foo Fighters right here on the class. Oh, I mean, that's Brian. That's Brian Stewart Fox from his "Load the Jet" rocket release, and it says "You Were an American." And on the phone with us, we do have Brian Stewart Fox. Welcome to the Classic Metal Show, there, Brian.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
Well, why the three names, Brian Stewart Fox?
That's my name. It's my God-given name, Brian Stewart Fox. There's a lot of Brian Foxes out there. I don't want to get confused with all the other ones.
Oh, I see. I thought perhaps you didn't want to take your wife's maiden name or something.
She doesn't want to take mine.
I hear you. Well, Brian, we've been doing a big build-up here on the show for you, and I hope you don't disappoint.
I certainly won't. I'll do my best.
All right, excellent.
Yeah. So, wait, who am I speaking to? This Chris, and then you are?
Neeley.
Neeley, okay. And, you asked, why do I call it the record Load the Jet Rocket? I heard you saying that.
Right.
Well, what other band kind of sounds like that? Can you think?
Toad the Wet Sprocket?
Hey! Very good. It's slightly reminiscent of another band. A lot of people, they don't get it right away, but you did, so that's good.
You're a pretty clever guy.
All right. So are you. You guessed it.
Well, Brian, the one thing, that was interesting to me, which is why I reached out to you, is not only that you have definite opinions, about not only 9/11, but the quote unquote conspiracy community, but beyond that, from reading your bio out there on your MySpace page and on your website, it's not like you're a hack musician either, man. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit of your history, because you have quite the history and you've worked with a lot of really cool people.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't even put I think I put most of my history on there, but I started out working with Paul Rothschild, who produced The Doors. That's back in the 80s, and then signed to Warner Brothers in the 90s with a band called The Power Trio from Hell. A lot of you metalheads might have heard of us. Very underground, a lot of thrash stuff, and we're produced by Eddie Kramer, who produced Led Zeppelin, of course, and Jimi Hendrix. And we were signed by a guy named Rob Cavallo, who also signed Green Day and My Chemical Romance. So a lot of heavy hitters.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've been around, and I had another deal in the mid-'90s with a band called Brian Fox and Load. We sold 250,000 units on an indie label. And now I got a new thing happening with Chemtrail Records.
Sure. Well, Brian, with the new record, a lot of the songs obviously deal with government type stuff and Illuminati type stuff, etc. Is that the smartest way to do business these days? Because it does kind of alienate, it instantly alienates a lot of people that are just going to say, "Oh, that's crazy." That's you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm not all about that, but this 9/11 was an inside job video, which I encourage all the listeners out there to see. I assume you've seen it. We're now on the front page of Infowars.com. That's the main Alex Jones website. And we're on his YouTube side. We're getting thousands of hits a day. And it's so much that YouTube is, they're fudging the numbers. They're not accurately saying what we get. Otherwise, we'd go up in the rankings. There's definite conspiracy there. And but Alex is helping us out a great deal. He loves the video, and he's keeping it up on Infowars.
Very cool. Now, how do you know Alex? Did Alex just hear the song or see the video, or how did you get hooked up with him?
It's all through the internet. He somehow, the guy that runs his YouTube page forwarded it to him, and he put it up there. So now we got people buying the CD. So if you go to chemtrailrecords.com, you can actually buy my Load the Jet Rocket. It's the only place that you can buy it in the world. We don't sell it on iTunes. We don't know Amazon, because those guys, they take a big cut. The Apple, Stephen Jobs, takes 50% right up the top. It's ridiculous, and musicians are getting ripped off these days, and that's why you see the quality of music going down, and for a variety of reasons. But we're taking a stand against that.
Well, Brian, aside from the fact that you're a musician, obviously one of the other reasons we have you on the show is because of your, conspiracy theorist ideas here. And prior to 9/11, were you into the conspiracy theory prior to 9/11 on other issues or other ideas?
Well, I mean, as usual, I've questioned the JFK thing, as many people have. And then there's the whole thing about did Franklin Delano Roosevelt know about the Japs were going to attack Pearl Harbor? I mean, it goes back a long way. Then it goes back to Lincoln. So I've dabbled in it, but I got a lot more so into it after Bush got elected. There was the vote fraud there, and then the 9/11. Then things seemed to spiral out of control with all that, more vote fraud, and yeah, I'm into a lot of the conspiracies.
Did you believe that? Did you believe there was vote fraud going on in West Virginia when Kennedy was elected?
When John F. Kennedy was elected?
Right.
Could have been. I haven't studied that. Hey, I've heard something about that, and it's very possible. I mean, this stuff's been going on for a long time. Public really doesn't have a lot of say in what happens in government, and it hasn't been that way for a long time.
Right, exactly.
Like, for instance, we have no control what goes on television. We have no control what goes on the radio, basically, and no control over who becomes president. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but I stand firm for my opinion.
So do you feel that Al Gore would have made a better president?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't like either of them, but I think that it's a strange thing. If we get deeply into that, I think that Bush was meant to be the president, and the world is going to be it's better overall because of him. Now, it sounds crazy, but that's what I believe. It's all for the best.
Right. I would agree with you there. If Al Gore were in office, do you think 9/11 would have happened?
Maybe not. Something else would happen. I mean, it was all destined. To me, it was supposed to happen, and there's going to be a big correction. Like you see in the stock market, it's falling apart. Everything that's corrupt eventually has to be corrected, and then the world becomes a better place after that. So it's greater good.
Well, I'm sure that you're aware of the words of Thomas Jefferson when he basically made the decree that when the government becomes corrupt, that it's up to the citizens to tear it down and start again.
Well, Thomas Jefferson was right on him. He was against the central bank coming into the United States, and then you had the War of 1812 after that, which was basically a banking war, and then he burned down the White House, and then it's been basically we've been run by banks ever since. We get in the whole Federal Reserve thing, which is, I believe, is one of the deepest conspiracies. Mm-hmm. It started in 1913 and controlling all the money. Most people have absolutely no idea how it works and who owns it and how they're making money off us.
Well, getting back to the Thomas Jefferson quote there, just one word that makes a difference there. He didn't say if the government becomes corrupt. He said when the government becomes corrupt.
Well, it's slowly but surely. I think that people need to be more aware, and that's where stuff like my music comes into play. Because I think that if you love everyone unconditionally and you think positively, and nonviolence, pro-peace, that's going to make a lot of difference. Because the second you start to be violent, then things are going to fall apart.
Sure.
And we're seeing that happen in the Middle East now. To me, it's only a matter of a few days or weeks before we attack Iran. That whole thing's going to spiral out of control.
Right. Well, Brian, the one thing that you said there that I agree fully with is that the media really does do its very best to keep conspiracy type thoughts or maybe thoughts, theories, whatever, off the airwaves. Now last night I stayed up way late into the night watching Truth Rising, Alex Jones's new documentary.
Oh, yeah?
And, I watched, I was doing my homework, so to speak. and they, the one thing that they profiled that I agree with you with was they really profiled how anybody that questions 9/11 or the Iraq War or anything in the media, it's either not present or it's railed on as, being kooks and people that are crazy and whatnot.
Hey metalheads, tired of waiting for new episodes? Crave the real raw classic metal show? For just $4.99 a month, you can become a CMS VIP. You get every episode a full week early, completely uncensored, and 100% commercial free. It's the only place to interact directly with the show, plus you score the Fast Pass, so your song requests get bumped straight to the head of the line on every live version. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now at classicmetalshow.locals.com and become a CMS VIP today.
Well, it's very calculated. Like, for instance, they have Rosie O'Donnell questioned 9/11, Building 7 falling down, and then she got kicked off that show. And then there was Charlie Sheen basically questioned it. So now you got, some guy drug-using whoremonger or the fat lesbian. They got or now Jesse Ventura questioned it. Oh, he's a steroid-using, wrestler guy. So they always have to, they pick the people that are going to reveal stuff, and then they're easy to insult.
Yeah, but in all fairness, with Jesse anyway, I mean, with Jesse,
I love Jesse. Jesse for president right now.
Well, I don't know, man. I heard Jesse on Opie and Anthony, and he sounded insane. I mean, and I'm not necessarily saying his views. I'm just saying him in general. Anytime anybody questioned his view back, he was feeding them back with, well, you have to sleep at night sometime. I mean, just really kind of radical in his own right.
He is radical, but he's supporting Ron Paul, I believe now. And I love Ron Paul as well. But I think that who knows? Maybe Obama should be the next president. Maybe that's better for the world. It's not for me to decide. I think they're all very complicated people, and I think Obama knows of 9/11 is an inside job. But if everybody in the world really believed that right now, there might be some sort of violence, and people would want to. It wouldn't be the best thing. I think it should slowly but surely be uncovered, and don't point any fingers, but realize the truth, the facts, and understand everything surrounding it.
Sure. Well, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, Brian. 9/11 was an inside job. Obviously, is your moniker, so to speak. So why don't you spell it out as best you can in a short amount of time? How and why 9/11 was an inside job?
Well, again, I'm not pointing any fingers. If you listen to the lyrics of the 9/11 song, one of them is Bush knows, Bush doesn't know. So I'm not pointing any fingers at Bush, even though I got Dick Cheney playing the drums in the video and Donald Rumsfeld on bass. But to me, it was the physics is the most obvious thing to start. How the two buildings could take asymmetrical hits from an airplane and it free fall speed with volcanic ash. Now it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that. And like the second tower that was hit fell first. It totally violates all laws of physics. If steel would melt under those conditions, then all barbecue grills would collapse. Every plane would fall out of the sky because they're burning kerosene. Every car would just burn on the road. They're burning kerosene gas more efficiently than that fire, which is billowing black smoke. It's oxygen starved. You had the firefighters up in the building said they had it under control. Then all of a sudden the thing falls on its own footprint. And then, of course, the building number 7, which did not get hit by anything, falling on its own footprint. That's just a blatant violation of the laws of physics, and not even mentioned in the 9/11 report. That's the basic premise of my doubt of the official theory. But then there's collateral stuff all over the place. But most of it stems from that area there, physics, which I studied in college, and that's just basic high school physics, melting points and stuff like that.
Well, Brian, to what end would that benefit anybody to take down those towers when those towers had been attacked before in the earlier?
Well, oddly enough, for the way they were trying to blow them up in 1993, it was from the bottom. If that had succeeded, then it would have fallen like popular mechanics, the pancake theory. If they took out the bottom, it would have pancaked. It'd be like boom, 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 boom. But that whole thing failed, and how does it benefit? Well, it's mostly the defense sector benefited from it. Israel benefited because we're attacking their enemies. The cause of Zionism was greatly benefited from that because now we're poised to take out Syria, Iran, Iraq, Al-Qaeda, which was they're enemies of Israel. Zionism is a big force, and Paul Wolfowitz, the main architect of the Iraq War, he's a dual citizenship with with Israel. The day before 9/11, they're saying, "Oh, hey, we lost $2 trillion." And, hey, I got the $2 trillion. Where did I put it somewhere? And then the next day everyone forgets about that because of 9/11 is a national tragedy. And I'm not trying to belittle all the people that killed in there. I think that's a terrible thing regardless of how it happened. A lot of people say, well, you're making a mockery of it. No, it's a terrible thing regardless, even more so if we're not being told the truth.
Well, how does our government convince these 9/11 hijackers, hey, we want you to kill yourselves by flying these planes into these World Trade Centers, the Pentagon, possibly the Capitol building, which obviously that didn't happen because of Flight 93 being taken.
Well, 93 might have been the one that was supposed to crash into Building 7, and then the Building 7 just happens to fall the exact same way. They're missing a plane, but they had to bring it down anyway. A lot more convincing if a plane had hit it. So that's my theory, is that 93 was going to go to number 7, but I think a National Guard shot that down. The very patriotic person in the Pennsylvania National Guard, I think, shot that down.
Well, what about the people on the plane who had made phone calls prior to the plane?
Hey, there's all sorts of you're saying some very pertinent stuff. That's why I say that my stuff comes from the basic physics of the building and the manner in which it fell. You have molten pools of metal 3 weeks after. Impossible from jet fuel. Now, all that airplane stuff, there's all sorts of theories about that. There's some people that say that a missile hit the Pentagon. It wasn't a plane. Now, hopefully you're aware that they were having exercises that day. NORAD was having an exercise about planes hitting into buildings that same day. And when the plane started being hijacked for real, there's tapes of FAA people going, is this real time or is this the game? So they were confused, and that's how it was one of the reasons why it screwed up our reaction time. There was no F-16s because they all thought it was a game. So that's ingenious. Whoever did it, they're geniuses. I'm not trying to compliment them, but it took a lot of ingenuity to make it happen and to bring down those buildings in the manner in which they were, and there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Well, Brian, and I'm going to throw an alternative theory out there, and I'm no physics major at all, but it's just something I've always thought, since the time. And I'm not, and before I even bring it up, I'm not saying that I'm one side or the other. I mean, I don't know what side I'm on. To be perfectly honest, I mean, there's stuff about 9/11 that just from the minute it happened on the news, I was saying to my wife that I thought was bullshit. Like 3 hours after it happened, they magically found a Quran and flight instructions and shit in the car in Boston.
Of course. That's part of the collateral stuff. I mean, there's so much. I mean, if you watch the movie Loose Change, which have you ever seen that one?
I've seen that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of the footage from my 9/11 video. But that eloquently explains, for instance, Flight 93. There's no body parts, no wreckage and in the Pentagon, there's no DNA. There's no Arabs on any of the flight manifests. Even look at the FBI 10 most wanted list. Osama bin Laden is on there for sure, but they don't mention 9/11 at all. It's just the embassy bombings. He's not technically wanted for 9/11. I mean, there's all sorts of weird stuff.
Sure. Well, the theory I've always had with the towers anyway is that they were not as structurally sound as everybody wants you to believe. I know part of the conspiracy is to say that these buildings were just rock solid and there was nothing wrong with them. And I've always wondered if the brute force of being hit by a large plane couldn't have just crumbled the initial foundation of the building and then it collapsed in on itself. I mean, it's reasonable. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's a reasonable other thought. And I don't know, for me personally, it's easier to believe that 19 kooks made this plan over a year's worth of time and smashed into the buildings and what happened than to believe that everybody in the entire government was somehow tied into this conspiracy.
Oh, no. I'm not saying everybody in the government. If you have a perfect plan, like, for instance, Hermann Goering from the Nazis said, the bigger the lie, the easier it is to perpetrate on the public. And it's most of the people that are involved, They thought they're just doing their jobs. All the F-16 pilots, they thought they're involved in the games. The people that worked at the Pentagon, they're just taking orders. They have no idea what's going on. Perhaps Rumsfeld and Cheney knew about it, but the average person just thought, oh, this is a national tragedy. They're just doing their business as usual. And if it's set up correctly, then it only takes a handful of people, and not the whole government at all. Most people have no idea what's going on.
Sure.
I mean, Bush might have been surprised himself that famous film of him in the Florida school reading, the pet goat story. He seemed to be surprised about it when it happened.
Right. Now, the other thing that I know the theorists, and I know Alex Jones beats on this thing to death, because believe me, I listen to Alex and Coast to Coast, and I watch all the videos I could find on it, so I'm very interested in it. And
that's good.
The one thing that everybody focuses in on is Building 7, and they focus in on how there were reports before it fell down and whatnot. And I forget the guy's name, but the guy that has the famous "pull it" quote.
Oh yeah, Larry Silverstein, and that guy's friends with Ehud Barak and Benjamin Netanyahu. That guy's totally tied in with Israel, by the way.
Sure, but is it not? Here's another theory that I have about Building 7. Is it not feasible that, given the fact that we had a lot of security type stuff, and I forget what it was, CIA or FBI type stuff that was housed in that building, that our own government had a building like that wired to where they could pull it at all times in case of an international, like a terrorist takeover type of a situation?
Well, of course, that's what I'm saying. Our own government had bombs in the buildings, and some force within the government, called some shadow element of our government, put bombs in all three of the towers because they fell exactly the same way. So, I mean, do the math. I mean, Building 7, is it a coincidence that three steel frame buildings, the only three steel frame buildings ever in history to collapse, all did on the same day within a couple of hours, and one did not get hit by a plane at all, and kerosene cannot melt steel? I mean, it's any physicist worth his salt will agree with me. I mean, I'm not a great physicist, but I just know melting points and stuff like that, and conservation of momentum, and it takes an asymmetrical hit. If anything, it would just topple over. I mean, if a huge plane 3 miles long smashed into it, it would just tip over. It wouldn't melt like that. It wouldn't fall symmetrically. It would smash into other buildings.
All right, Brian. Well, do you want to take some phone calls from our listeners?
I certainly do. I'm ready for anything.
All right. Well, I'm going to open up the phone lines here.
Hello? The CMS phone lines are now open. Give us a call at 1-800-497-5891 and let your opinion be heard. Call now. It's 1-800-497-5891.
The Classic Metal Show.
All right, we got our first caller. Hail and Kill caller, you're on the air. You're on the air with Brian Fox.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Neeley, Chris. How you guys doing?
Who is
Hey, man. How you doing?
It's Mr. Citizen V.
Citizen V.
Yeah, Chris kind of mentioned something about it a few minutes ago about the phone calls coming from family members, the people that were on the plane from Flight 93. And I hear a lot of guys, the conspiracy guys, say that it was faked phone calls or they were somehow, and things like that is where I get lost in the whole thing, where I can't have a hard time believing it at that point.
Hey, I understand that, and for instance, that's why I say that most of my doubt stems from the physics of just those three buildings. But I've heard things for instance, that they've got voice duplication software. They've had that for a couple of decades now. So if they really wanted to do it perfectly, there's someone could. And I heard that one of the kids called his mom and said, "Mom, this is Joe Blow." I mean, he didn't say. He said his full name. There's all sorts of inconsistencies with the phone calls, especially the very first phone call from Barbara Olson, the Ted Olson's wife. That was the first one. She didn't have her cell phone, and she had to use she forgot her purse. which would mean she would have to have registered for an account while the plane's crashing. All sorts of weird stuff. But I understand your to be doubting what you hear about the phone calls.
Let me step in on this before you finish this, Citizen B. Couldn't the inconsistencies on the phones, though, just be sheer fear?
Could be. Yeah, I mean, it's there could have been Arabs hijacking the thing, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't bombs in the building, if you follow what I'm saying. It's not for me to judge something I know absolutely nothing about, but I know about the physics, and that's my main qualification here. But with the phones, yeah, I've heard people say, no, you can't make a phone call from a plane, and then other people say you can, and then they test it. And people are still arguing about that, but you cannot argue about melting points and pools of molten metal for 3 weeks. So that's something that's it's just physical fact.
All right. Want to see what you thought about that. All right, gentlemen.
Anything else?
No, I'm good for now.
All
Thanks,
right,
gentlemen.
All right, Citizen, thanks.
All right, good to hear from you.
All right, if you want to get in on this, 800-497-5891. We are speaking with Mr. Brian Stewart Fox, and we got another caller already here. Hail and kill caller, you're on the air with Brian Stewart Fox.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Cerberus.
Holy shit, Cerberus calling live.
Cerberus.
It's an honor to be on the Love Me show.
Well, what can we do for you, Cerberus?
Well, before this turns into a circle jerk over how insightful everyone is, I have a few questions. Healthy skepticism, it seems, has fermented into paranoia, fueled by silver spacesuit-wearing individuals. So is this musical creation solely a means of peddling these wild conspiracy tales?
Good question. No, absolutely not. That's just one song. I mean, I got one about chemtrails, but most of my record is about spirituality, like I briefly mentioned before, unconditional love, which is not to be confused with circle jerking, and positive thoughts, and forgiving everybody unconditionally. So for people like George Bush, you might dislike the guy, but picture him like he's a baby. He doesn't know what he's doing, and just look at him that way. Take nothing personal from him, and I think that's the main message in my music. And so a lot of it's not all metal. It's not all about 9/11. There's a lot more there.
But are your tunes hummable?
Yes, sir. Check out the samples that I used to be signed to Warner Brothers, as you may or may not have heard, and they used to call me the next Brian Wilson over there. It's my main influences are the Beach Boys, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, very melodic stuff, and so you see a lot of that influence in what I do.
Well, thank you. And remember, no portion of our conversation can be used without written consent from me.
And Major League Baseball.
Thank you, Cerberus. We bow to your greatness.
That was a good call. I liked it.
That's Cerberus. He's never called the show live. He always leaves us a cryptic message every 5-6 weeks.
Well, we got his interest. That's good.
Wow.
A lot of people are interested in this stuff, but they just need a forum to talk about it.
Sure.
Because, they're afraid to talk to someone on the street because then you're a conspiracy theorist. People in my immediate family, I've been ostracized because they totally diametrically oppose what I'm saying.
Well, if you want to jump in on here, 800-497-5891 is the number to call. So jump in here and talk to Mr. Brian Stewart Fox if you got something to ask about some conspiracy theory. And we got our next phone caller.
Wow.
Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Hail and kill.
Turn down your radio, stupid.
All right. I had just two questions right now. The first one being, I just Googled the burning temperature of jet fuel and the burning temperature of metal, and it says that jet fuel will burn at about 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and that iron, which is the main component of steel, will burn at 2,790 Fahrenheit. I wondered if you could explain that to me.
That's it's totally incorrect. First of all, we're talking about an alloy, a metal steel alloy, which it's centigrade. Jet fuel will burn at 1,500 centigrade, and to melt the columns in the World Trade Center would be about 2,500 degrees centigrade. I mean, there's all sorts of physics on the internet. Don't trust everything you read.
Okay.
Heavy metal warriors, are you ready to crank it up? The Classic Metal Show is live every Saturday night, 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., and you can blast it right on your big screen TV. Just download the Rumble app on your smart TV or streaming device. Head to rumble.com/c/CMS. Follow the channel and get ready to headbang from your couch or your bed. Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., catch the daily replay, plus killer interviews on Chris Akin Presents. No cable, no limits, pure classic metal live whenever we hit the stream. Download Rumble now, subscribe, and never miss a riff again. The Classic Metal Show, louder on Rumble.
And the second question I had was, why would YouTube fudge your numbers? What do they have to gain by doing that?
Well, they've already been been caught doing that, like with the loose change video that had millions of hits, and then they started bringing it down in the rankings. Google is YouTube's owned by Google. Now, maybe I'm not the first person to tell you this, but a lot of people said that the CIA is involved with Google because they got the Google Earth, all the satellites, surveillance. It's in the best interest of YouTube because they're part of the power structure to not spread around something like 9/11 is an inside job, especially in an entertaining and fun way, which would tend to invite the average Joe into the movement. It's a lot of people that wouldn't want to necessarily think about it. They like the song, they like the video, and then they start thinking about it. And that's, to some people, I believe in YouTube, that's a dangerous thing. But ultimately, I think it's going to prevail because we got Alex Jones, and so it's all good. Things are working out. It's kind of like a trial by fire with YouTube, but they definitely are fudging the numbers. No question about it.
What stops it? Let me jump in here. What stops the government if they're capable? And I'm going to go on the theory that it was an inside job. If they're capable of going ahead and killing 3,000 people in 2 buildings, what stops them from killing an Alex Jones?
That's a very good question. You ready for the answer? It's very heavy.
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
I guess I'm supposed to get into it. Alex Jones is part of the elite system. He's connected with all those people, and like I said, the 9/11 that was meant to happen, and it's all to make a better world. But people should know the truth, and people should love everybody unconditionally. There's too much negativity in the world, and that's why we got ourselves in this 9/11 mess. That's why we got guys like Bush, Cheney. It's all part of our own negativity, and the mass media feeds us that. It's been doing that for years. And Alex Jones is apart from that. There's the people he hangs out with, like Willie Nelson. Those guys are all positive all day long, and there's a lot of people in upper echelons of society that they do love everybody unconditionally, and those are the people that are going to prevail in the world.
I had one more question, if that's all right.
Sure.
Chris has teased it up that you think the Illuminati are part of this somehow? Or is he...
No, I mean, the Illuminati, that's, again, I mean, you can do all sorts of research. The Illuminati, there's all sorts of literature out there. Adam Weishaupt or whatever started the Illuminati. To me, that's, it's only part of there's the Jesuits, there's the Illuminati, there's the Freemasons, there's the Skull and Bones, there's this, there's that. That's just a certain a sect of the population that does certain dirty work for the power structure. And then there's guys like Alex Jones, and I think Obama's part of that. They want the best for the world, but there's got to be some dark forces out there to initiate certain change.
So what would the Freemasons do?
Pardon me?
So what would the Freemasons do?
Again, the Freemasons, that's a fraternity. It's they got 33 levels. You know, Bill Clinton is a member of that. Al Gore is a member of that.
The Freemasons don't have 33 levels.
Well, okay, some say they have more, whatever.
No, the Shriners have 33 levels. The Freemasons don't.
Yeah, some say there's far more love. Okay, all right. So obviously you've researched that, and my judgment on that is that they're actually a good group. It's a fraternity. There's nothing wrong with that, but they've been hijacked perhaps by some of this Illuminati stuff, and therefore thrust.
The Freemasons have been hijacked.
Perhaps, whatever. It's like the Skull and Bones. Some say that's Bavarian Freemasonry, but obviously you've done your homework on Freemasonry. This is something you can teach me. Please do.
And the average age of a Freemason is like 70.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
and again, most people, just like the Federal Reserve, in the public, they have no idea that that's going on. And the Federal Reserve that was started by some people that were involved with that. It's
well, the only agenda.
it's not the label you can say. Oh, that guy's a Jesuit. That guy's a Freemason. That guy's a Knights of Malta. Whatever. It's what the outcome is, and we find ourselves in this situation where we're incredibly in debt. We got this Federal Reserve. We're about to attack Iran. It's not a good situation, but it's going to correct itself and it's going to get better. And there are people, I believe, in the upper echelons of society that deeply care about that, and that the world's going to be a better place. And if we all were like that, it would even be a better place.
All right, thank you.
Well, who was this on the phone there, caller?
This is Temp.
From?
Indiana.
Tim?
Tim.
Temporal.
Oh, Temporal.
Yes, sir.
Templar Knight. He's a Templar Knight.
All right, Temporal. Good call.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that was very good.
All right, thanks.
Goodbye.
All right, if you want to jump in on this, 800-497-5891. 800-497-5891. You can jump in on this and talk to Brian here about the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, let me add something. Can I do something before we get a call? There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that I don't believe. Like some people think that Bush is a reptile. Have you heard that one?
No, we haven't heard that.
Haven't heard that? There's a guy, David Icke. You wouldn't believe how many people buy his books. He used to be a soccer player, I believe, in Great Britain, and hundreds of thousands of people buy this guy's book, and they believe that Bush and Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles, they're all reptiles.
Nice. Well, we got another call there, Brian. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, man? This is Jalapeno from Pittsburgh.
All right, Jalapeno Pope, what's going on?
Not much. I'm wondering if the guest is familiar with the Popular Mechanics article, March 2005 issue that debunked a lot of the theories that you're putting out there right now, specifically the what you said about the melted steel.
Right.
They talked about the fact is jet fuel burns at 800 degrees to 1500, and that's not hot enough to melt steel. But experts state in that article that if it twists, warps, bends, sags, that the concrete around it's going to crack. And I mean, they go on in great detail. Every
I'm sure they do. Yes.
Conspiracy.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know anything about physics?
No, that's why I started out by saying, did you read the Popular Mechanics article?
Of course, yeah, I know about that.
I'm counting on them knowing about physics.
All right.
They are an authoritative source. You do agree with that?
Well,
they are a magazine
Popular
that consult scientists and engineers for this particular article. They state the names of the people they consult.
Yeah, Popular Mechanics.
Engineer, Farad Awarki Hero, which I thought was interesting. They made sure they went with people from the Middle East and America for these statements. Forum Williams, professor of engineering at the University of California, San Diego. All of them say this is possible. Right. So, you're not shooting down Jalapeno Pope because you could easily do that because he doesn't know shit about physics. But these two, these fellas, they seem to know a lot about it.
All right, well, allow me to answer. The Popular Mechanics is run by the Hearst Corporation. That's Randolph Hearst. Remember Patty Hearst? Now, the Hearst Corporation has owned a lot of the media outlets for years. One of their papers got us into the Spanish-American War when they put out this Remember the Maine, Remember the Maine. Many of you may or may not know about that. So we went into the Spanish-American War on false pretenses because of the Hearst Corporation. Now, I'm not saying that makes them responsible for anything here, but popular mechanics, they diametrically disagree with a lot of the mainstream physicists, like you got, what's his name, Stephen Jones from Brigham Young University. There's all sorts of people that totally disagree with the popular mechanics thing. And the pancake theory, when they say that the steel's going to bend, that wouldn't support the pyroclastic cloud that came out, which was steel dust. The amount of energy required to turn steel into dust is far more than what kerosene could do. It's someone speculated that there were small nuclear devices that planted strategically in the buildings to turn steel into dust. Requires lots and lots of energy. And the people in popular mechanics are counting on other people's naivety, because most people they're watching American Idol, Dancing with the Stars. They've never even studied basic physics, the dumbing down of the public. It's very easy to pay a few physicists and threaten them to tell a lie, and then you got Bill O'Reilly out there to tell lies all day long.
For what you do, you also probably rely on naiveness from individuals. Specifically when you ask us to. When you say that the phone calls that, when you question the actual cell phone calls from loved ones, and things like that. I mean, you're counting on us.
I've just heard about the voice morphing, whatever. I can't comment on the phone calls because I don't know. I don't have any specific information about that. All I know about is basic physics. That's where I go from. And then there's all sorts of things like no DNA at the crash site.
And then I would love to read.
Hold on, Jalapeno. Hold on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let him finish. Let him finish, and then you can go.
Yeah, again, the physical stuff at the WTC 7 with falling into itself, pyroclastic cloud, no DNA at the crash sites at all. I mean, that's the big thing. No blood, no DNA, no body parts. Those two things are the main things. But then the cell phone stuff, I don't have any specific information about that stuff. I've never experimented with cell phones and planes, and so I couldn't comment on that.
Well, they do say that, a combination of intense fire and severe structural damage, absolutely contributed to the collapse, and it's fine. You can say that it didn't, but...
Well, there was a building in Madrid, Spain, that burned for 18 hours, burned into a crisp, but the steel columns were still there, and it was a wimpy building compared to the World Trade Center. If you do your homework and look at the other big skyscraper fires, none of them crashed to the ground.
Well, were the other, buildings, did they all have such an unusual design? I mean, there was
the World Trade Center was
extremely large loads in this, in these buildings. 2,000 square feet of floor.
In the Netherlands, there was a U.S. aircraft that crashed into two flats that were only 5 stories high, and they didn't fall to the ground.
Go ahead, Jalapeno.
I absolutely don't mind, that we can, agree to disagree, but then, I think when we get into the other aspects, such as the actual hijackers themselves, the footage, the evidence, there was forensic evidence of their existence upon these planes, the people stating that they're there, what they're doing. I mean,
well, that's
I find it hard to believe. And then I don't know how we benefited from it. How the hell did we benefit from this? If we wanted a war, we could have easily constructed a manner we could have, simply created a plot to have a war. I don't see why we would have to do this.
Well, we couldn't go into Afghanistan. Before that, we were just doing little surgical strikes with cruise missiles in Afghanistan. No troops whatsoever. Then all of a sudden, there's a big invasion of Afghanistan. Then all of a sudden, there's a big invasion of Iraq. None of that.
But the payday didn't come until Iraq, and we could have easily went into Iraq. We could have lied about WMD. That gets you right in there.
Yeah, but they always use terrorism as, what are we going to wait for? A mushroom cloud over, and none of that. That would have sounded absurd if there was no 9/11. There was what are we going to talking about mushroom clouds? It seemed like you're an idiot if there was no 9/11. Having the 9/11. And indeed, the Project for a New American Century, which is the architects of that were Dick Cheney. They said that the way for the United States to prevail in this millennium, it would be easier if there were a new Pearl Harbor. and that's in black and white in the Projects for a New American Century. So they got their new Pearl Harbor. It's coincidence? I think not.
Well, I don't agree with that, Brian, and I'll tell you why. Because the country, and admittedly 9/11 wasn't everybody's mind, but when Colin Powell went and spoke at the UN, he wasn't preaching Al Qaeda. He was preaching Saddam Hussein, and he was preaching those trucks that were, the trucks that were enriching uranium and whatnot, and everybody was ready to go. I mean, everybody in the country was ready to go. They could have, if they would have just gone with that same structure, I think they probably could have got us directly into Iraq.
Well, if you remember, the big thing that Colin Powell did was hold out the vial of anthrax. And the anthrax thing was a direct, happened right after 9/11. Everyone thought that the Arabs did that too. So for Colin Powell to come in and pull out the anthrax, that just ties in with the whole terrorism thing, something that already happened. Yes, he did leave out 9/11, but the other people weren't leaving that out. Everybody, George Bush put Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan on the axis of evil after that.
Well,
right.
I think it's a conspiracy, that you're going to profit from something like this, man.
What, I mean?
Yeah, you heard me. I think you're profiting from it.
I haven't made a penny.
My
goal is not to make money. My goal is just to spread a certain message. And I mean, you need money to live, but that's never been the goal. If I wanted to make money, I'd start a gangster rap thing.
Well, you might. I don't know. All right, peace, love, heal, kill.
All right, Jalapeno, we appreciate the call. All right, there you go. All right, 800-497-5891. We got time for a couple more calls with Brian Stewart Fox, and talking about his conspiracy theories as well as his new CD, which is called what, Brian?
It's called Load the Jet Rocket. Yeah, we haven't talked about that too much. I recorded that over here in Studio City, California, and I encourage people to buy it. People are starting to buy it because there's videos on like I say, Infowars.com, Alex Jones' site. You had a few sales today. It's hard to sell CDs in this climate because everyone expects music for free ever since the Napster came out, and it's tremendously devalued music. And if you go to the Chemtrail Records website, there's some videos there explaining how that happened and how that is substantially reduced the quality of music. Where we got all this gangster rap, it's even the metal is not as good as it was. It's I'm a big fan of metal. I was in the Power Trio from Hell. I love Black Sabbath, early Metallica. I was going to audition for Metallica when the first bass player died. Duff from Guns N' Roses bought me a plane ticket to go out there, and I didn't know who they were, so I didn't show up. But later I got into them, and I'm a big fan of all that stuff.
Well, you should have been friends with Eric Braverman because he had a back door into Metallica and got Jason in. So. Yeah,
see, I heard that. Who's this guy? Les Claypool was going to audition for him too. That wouldn't have been a good match.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, we got another call there, Brian. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Matt. I'm from Kentucky.
Well, Matt from Kentucky, turn your computer down there.
Sorry, man.
Don't be sorry. Just do it.
I did it.
All right, Matt. What do you got for us?
Are you guys going to Crew Fest this year, or have you already been?
No Crew Fest for me. It's already been and gone in the Chicago area.
Really?
That's a conspiracy, thinking that we would go to such a shit show.
Well, you got a question for Brian?
Not really. The same thing.
So you just called to ask us if we were going to Crew Fest?
Yeah, like the best show on earth.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Anytime.
Hail and kill. All right.
Crew Fest. All right.
All right. Yeah, that was relevant. I'm glad he called in.
Hey, he's right on topic. It's good.
Right. Exactly. Got time for one more call. 800-497-5891 if you want to talk to Brian about his new CD, which is Load the Jet Rocket, or his ideas on conspiracy here in the States. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and kill. What's up, man? This is Tony from Kansas City.
What's up, Tony? Are you wearing your Classic Metal Show T-shirt with pride while you sit in front of your computer ironing your clothes?
No, not yet. I haven't tried it on yet, but no, just here sitting here watching the Olympics with my wife.
Get to the point.
Listening to the show, man. This is fabulous. Like I said in the chat room, you just don't get this kind of programming on Eddie Trunk or the Rev, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yo, metalheads, you ready to get your brains blown off? Blizzard of Oz is now on vinyl, baby. Randy Rhoads ripping faces off with those insane solos, Crazy Train blasting through your speakers like a freight train from hell. This ain't some lame stream, this is the real deal on wax, loud as hell and twice as evil. Links at the bottom of the screen. Buy the Blizzard of Oz vinyl and let it take you on a trip.
Well, what do you got a question for Brian?
Yeah, I do. Hey, Brian, I want to know what's your opinion about the possibility of depression, economic depression, coming up?
Oh, to me, that's a foregone conclusion. I mean, you got Fannie Mae just collapsed with Freddie Mac. We got to bail them out. All these banks have been failing. You got $500 trillion outstanding in derivatives, which are these complex financial, unregulated gambling practices. You got the petroleum demand going up. The possibility of war with Iran. All those will contribute to, already people within the mass media are saying this looks like another 1929. And I say it's going to be even worse than that. But inevitably, everything's going to get better after that. I mean, we're going to end up getting rid of gasoline and going with solar power, which we should, and the world will get cleaner and more peaceful. But we got to go through a couple of rough spots before that happens.
Will the Antichrist be in power by that time?
I'm not into that kind of stuff. It's to me, it's all we have the power to make change on the planet. It's up to us. It's not some fictitious thing. It's we're here and now. We can do it.
You don't think with the advances in medical technology that we're going to have a cloned human and a soulless child which will take over the world?
To me, a cloned soulless child would be the next host of American Idol. I don't know.
Well, how come you don't want to talk about something that's absolutely real and you want to talk about conspiracies that, everybody knows a bunch of nonsense?
I mean, wait. Conspiracies are a bunch of nonsense, but I want to talk about the Antichrist.
Right, exactly, because that's
right.
That's as real as the nose on your face.
Antichrist is?
Sure.
Well,
sure.
It's. I think that the more you believe in that kind of stuff, I mean, if you believe in the Antichrist, that must mean you believe in Jesus Christ was the Savior who died on the cross, and all that too, right?
Sure.
And you're Catholic, or what religion are you?
Religion has nothing to do with it. It's just belief.
Okay. 666, the number of the beast.
Right. Yeah, Iron Maiden sings it loud and proud. Besides, this is the Classic Metal Show, right?
Right. So it's almost like you're obliged to believe in the Antichrist. And indeed, when I had my band, the Power Trio from Hell, my name was AC Fox, and the AC was for the Antichrist. So I've gone through I've dabbled with that stuff. And who knows, maybe I'm the Antichrist. But my point is that we have the power to initiate change on the world, and I don't think you should get into that kind of stuff.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 46.
All right, you're too old to be the Antichrist. He's going to be the age of Christ when he left the earth, so it's about 32, 33. So you're way past your prime already. I'm not worried about you.
You shouldn't be worried about anybody. All right, well, the truth comes out at the end here. All conspiracy theories are nonsense, but we got to worry about the Antichrist. The Antichrist, maybe that's the reptiles. It's Bush is a reptile. It's the serpent in the garden, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. All right, Brian. We're just kind of messing with you, but we've enjoyed the time you've been here on the show, and we've had some good callers, and you've been very cool about all that stuff.
Hey, it's been fun, and I appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully people will go to my site and check out the music, and that's the purpose here. Just spread the message, and metal. All right.
Well, why don't you throw those websites out there again, so where people can find you?
All right, it's chemtrailrecords.com. That's CHEMTRAIL records.com. And on MySpace, it's myspace.com/Brian Fox Reloaded.
Excellent. All right, Brian, well, is there any parting words here you want to impart to the fans and the callers who participated tonight?
Thank you for all your calls. You know, a lot of people, they seem like they're on the fence. They don't know which way to go, except for that Freemason guy. He's the way I'm. But you know, it's just research the stuff, follow your heart, think positively, and you can accomplish all your goals in life. That's the secret of life.
Sure.
Try to stay positive.
Absolutely. Well, we again appreciate you taking the time, and it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with this, and we always ask our guests a traditional classic metal show question. So the question is, how has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
Oh, that's a good question. Motorhead, I used to, oh man, what's his name? One of my managers was Motorhead's manager, but Todd Singerman. He was my manager for a while, right before I left Warner Brothers. And I wanted to get an endorsement for bass strings, and Todd Singerman said, no, I'll just get them from Lemmy for you. And then, so I used to get like A strings from Lemmy. So that's my connection to Lemmy in the world.
Excellent, Brian. Well, again, like I said, we appreciate you calling, and you got anything for him, Chris, before we let him go?
Nope. I think it is time to finish this up with one of Brian's tunes. Brian, which tune would you like us to end the interview with?
I think that, the most metal one on the record is the last tune, Crying in the Rain.
It isn't a Led Zeppelin cover, is it?
It kind of sounds like that at first, huh? It's got some high energy, so I think you should play that one.
All right. Well, the Brian Stewart Fox release is called "Load the Jet Rocket." Go over to his website there at what is it?
Chemtrailrecords.com.
All right, and go pick this thing up. And we want to thanks to Brian Stewart Fox for being a good guest, and thanks to all the callers who called in tonight. And here it is. This is "Crying in the Rain" exclusively here
on your classic.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Yo, you glam metal savages! You want to hear the album that lit the fuse on the entire 80s hair metal explosion? This is it! Motley Crue's debut, Too Fast for Love. Raw, filthy, LO out as hell glam punk that'll melt your face off. Livewire hits like a kick to the teeth. Public Enemy #1 and Merry-Go-Round will have you smashing the volume knob. Remastered, meaner than ever, and ready to key rank in your ride or your man cave. If you call yourself a rocker and you do not have this in your collection yet, then that's a crime, brother. Click the link at the bottom of the screen right now and grab it before it's gone.